What's up YouTube, Jeff back from SammyGuru.com, and today we have a very exciting exclusive leak that we broke over on the website. We have brand new information about how One UI will work on Samsung's upcoming Trifold device. Now for those of you guys who don't know much about the Trifold, we've been tracking this device for quite some time. It's expected to launch later this year, 2025. In fact, Samsung's own executives confirmed earlier this year that they will be launching it in 2025, and we don't expect it to come to every region. It's likely only coming to China and Korea, which is similar to what we saw last year with the Galaxy Z Fold Special Edition. That appears to be the same situation this year with the Trifold. Now, we don't know the exact name. We've heard some various names, but we're not 100% sure what Samsung will call it. And we may not know until maybe a week or two before they unveil it. However, one thing that we haven't seen much of until now is how One UI would run on this device. Of course, we know that Samsung is leading the game when it comes to foldable software, and the Z Fold 7, the Z Flip 7 that they released just showcase how well One UI works for these foldable devices. We obtained some exclusive information that's buried in some code. Our guy Josh Skinner over at SammyGuru, he was able to get this from one of his sources. We highly appreciate that. That shows how you will see on your Trifold device the cover screen mirroring, and also the brand new, currently we can run two apps side by side where you have app pairs. You now have what would presumably be called an app trio, or whatever Samsung decides to call it. So first, talking about the app trio, since the Trifold obviously will fold completely open to reveal a tablet size that's pretty similar to a Tab S10 Plus or S11 Plus, since the S11 Plus doesn't exist. Maybe that's why, because the Trifold can kind of take the place of that. But when it's fully open, it looks like a tablet. And so you essentially have three phone-sized interfaces side by side by side. And so you can now open up three individual phone-sized apps on that and then run them all together. Now you can actually do this in portrait as well as landscape, depending on what suits your workflow and whether or not you're working with a media app or you're working with maybe a social media, a reading application, note-taking, whatever you're doing. But this obviously makes a lot of sense for a Trifold device, and it's just the next evolution of the app pair concept that Samsung already has in place for the Galaxy Z Fold 7. Next, we have obtained an animation of how the cover screen mirroring will work with the Trifold. Of course, currently on the Z Fold 7, if you want to mirror your cover screen, you can basically have the same app setup that you have on the cover screen to the larger inner display. Or you can remove that and turn it off if you don't want it, which is what I normally do, because I think it makes a lot more sense to have different apps on the inner screen versus the cover screen. But now you're going to have a different way to deal with the cover screen mirroring. It's a little more complicated. So what you can do is you can take the apps that are on each of those two individual small screens when you have it unfolded once, and then those get kind of moved over into the larger tablet interface when it's fully unfolded. They just add some additional spacing, so it kind of looks like the home screen on a large Samsung tablet does right now, which is very interesting. We have the animation, you guys can see it there. It looks very fluid, of course. These are presumably like mock-ups of what you'll see in the One UI software if you buy the Trifold and you actually go in the tip section or whatever, you go into the settings, it'll show you how this works, because again, it's a little more complicated. They're definitely gonna need to explain it because this is a new device category. Speaking of purchasing it, if you plan on purchasing it, which a lot of people have asked me, am I going to buy one to review for SammyGuru? Because last year, obviously, I reviewed the special edition Fold, and it got a lot of views. People enjoyed it, but it's very expensive. And with the new tariffs, I'm not really sure. If you're thinking about importing one, you probably can bank on $5,000. That's my guess. The device is probably going to cost $3,000 in the home market of Korea, if not $3,500. Add some tariffs on top of that, the uncertainty of getting it and how limited this is going to be. You're probably paying $5,000 to get it in your hands here in the US. I'll have to see. I'm going to try to obtain one because I know you guys want the coverage, but that's also a lot of money and a huge risk, obviously, if there's not enough interest for me to cover it. But if you're thinking about importing one, you could probably do it. You just need the money. Not likely to come to the US. A US launch could happen next year, kind of like how Samsung took the special edition Fold and then they created the Z Fold 7 with that as the starting point. And then the Z Fold 7, of course, launched globally this year in 2025. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed these exclusive leaks on the Galaxy Trifold device. One UI, kind of how things are going to look. As we get more information, we should hopefully be able to find more information buried in these code samples. We'll have more information at SammyGuru.com. Definitely bookmark the website. Check out our mystery box program if you're going to be buying an S26 to get some free accessories with your purchase. You can also set us as your preferred source of news for Samsung on Google, and that really helps us out a lot. We have a tutorial on how to do it if you want to check that out below. Let me know what you guys think. Would you buy one? Are you going to try to import one for $5,000? Who knows? I will try. I don't know how many people will be interested in doing that. But would you buy one at $3,000 here in the US? I'm curious to hear if you guys have a use case for this, if there's any much interest in this at all, or if it's going to be a device that's going to be very niche and not really kind of blow up like the Fold and the Flip have over time. Anyway, appreciate you guys checking out the video. And of course, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.